All right. Hello, everybody. Well, welcome back. Glad to have you here today. So, today I have a quick tip. It was a question that I've received. It was if you are looking for a deal in a specific neighborhood or in a small area, what are some good ways to find that deal? And really, it comes down to low tech methods, getting old school. So, some old school methods for finding deals, which work really well if you're trying to get one little neighborhood or a deal in one small area. So, for that, I would do, and I have done these things. Some things I would do, I would put door hangers on every door in the neighborhood, and I would just hire some kid to go do it. And I used to have guys that I'd have guys who wanted work and they'd be cleaning out houses or painting or doing whatever. And if it got to a point where they didn't have anything to do for a little while, I just had big boxes of flyers. I just have them go, in circles around the neighborhood, just putting them in screen doors, whatever, just to get the materials out there. So you can put a little flyer in the screen door. You can put a, professionally made door hanger on each door that looks a little nicer, but whatever you can do to get your name out there and that you're looking to buy a house. Additionally, I would put bandit signs out, real simple ones, just get some white corrugated signs, just hand write with a bold or a big wide Sharpie on there that you want to buy a house, what your name is, what your phone number is. And I try to get those at the entrances to the neighborhood. So anybody going in and out would see them. Additionally, you could put them on telephone poles in the neighborhood, depending on what kind of neighborhood it is. If I did get a deal in a neighborhood, I always put a sign in the yard of that house. Or if we already have a house in the neighborhood, when we're working on the house, another sign goes in the yard there. If there's vacant land, put a sign in the vacant land. If there's an abandoned house, put a sign in the yard of the abandoned house. I really don't think you're going to have too many issues there. And so for a few bucks, you can have your sign right in the middle of the neighborhood or right where there's a lot of traffic. So that's another good way to do it. Since you're working in a small area, you definitely want to drive for dollars. Look for issues with a house that might be indicative of somebody wanting to sell or not wanting to take care of that house anymore. So in the summer, the big ones are always the grass is too long or hasn't been kept up. It could be an issue with the roof. It could be the mailbox has a whole bunch of mail sticking out of it. Could be a whole bunch of things. Maybe the grass has been knocked down. It was real tall and they mowed it, and there's just big piles of grass sitting everywhere, and you can tell that the flower beds, nothing's been done to them for a long time. It could be an issue with the roof. Maybe there's a tarp on a section of the roof and you can tell it's been there a long time, right? Whatever, when you drive by, whatever makes you think somebody really isn't taking care of that house, that's a good one to look into. And when I'm driving for dollars, a great idea that I used to do and need to start doing again is I'd have just a yellow pad of post-it notes. Just write on there, sorry, I missed you. Give me a call at, here's my number. When you get a minute, and put my name, Chad. And you just stick that on the front door, front screen door, something like that. Because that gets people's attention super quick. When they get home, they immediately see a yellow post it and they think it's some issue with the utility company or some kind of major notice. So you definitely get their attention. It'll give you better odds of getting a call from that person there. Let's see some other things you can, if you buy a list or look up a list, then it's good to use that list within the neighborhood. So let's say a pre-foreclosure list. Those people are having some kind of difficulty. I wouldn't really point out that they're on a pre-foreclosure list. I would just do the door hanger or the yellow post-it and just say, hey, give me a call, and just introduce yourself and say you're looking to buy a house, right? You're talking about you, and they can put together that, hey, they need to sell a house, that it's time. Another one is delinquent property tax list. That's usually a fairly easy one to get, and it's one that's takes some effort to make on a large scale, or to do on a large scale. So that's a really good one for a small area. So I would look for places that have that property tax, especially if they've built up over 2 years. They're not, um, it's going to be very difficult for them to catch up. I would reach out to them with some kind of marketing. Additionally, you can cold call the owners. You can either look up the name. Once you have the name and the address, you can look that up on some websites online. You can hire somebody on Fiverr. There's a bunch of bigger websites where you can do large numbers, getting those phone numbers for large numbers. But for a small neighborhood, I would just do, Fiverr or something like that. Once you get that number, drop a text, cold call, just call, and you're just being open, right? You're just initiating a conversation. So additionally, I would, once I had an address and a name, whether that was absentee, they live somewhere else, or the when you look it up, it looks like the owner lives in the house. Either way, I would definitely send them a letter, and I would send it to them, super simple letter, maybe even handwritten. If not handwritten, I would make it look handwritten, just saying my name and that I'm looking to buy a house in the neighborhood. Would they be interested? And I would put that in a really bright envelope. So for a while, I did really small lists, direct mail, but it was in bright yellow envelopes and bright red envelopes. And my response rate was through the roof. So the envelopes cost more. So, but for a small list, it really doesn't matter. And your response rate will be much higher. So that's a good one. And now the oldest, the oldest method in the book, and really the lowest tech method you can possibly do, which is probably going to be your most effective. If you are really dead set on finding a deal in this neighborhood, the best method is going to be walking door to door, knocking on the door, and talking to whoever answers the door. Merely saying, hey, my name's Chad. I'm looking to buy a house in the area. Do you know anybody who might be interested in selling or has been wanting to sell their house? If it is them, then they'll bring that up right away. But they could also know a neighbor down the way, or they could know a house 2 streets over that was listed, and then the sign came down and it was never sold. But you'll get a whole bunch of information just by going door to door. Additionally, anybody you talk to and it's a good response, I would give them a business card or something, because maybe they can't think of someone right away, but a week later or a month later, 6 months later, they do uh, know somebody who's looking to sell or remember. And so they still have your contact information to reach out to you. Or maybe something in their life changes and in 6 months they're ready to sell, right? It's just good to have your marketing materials out in their hands. So those are some super low tech, old school ways that I would use to find deals. Also, a great way to do it if you are on a budget, because none of those cost very much money. You'll spend very little money and you will find the people in those neighborhoods who have some interest in selling. So I hope that helps. I hope you use those techniques to go find a deal, because they've gotten me many deals. So, and good luck out there. Keep building your dream life one door at a time.